Arce, Justin?
So the defense, you guys made some tweaks to it last week, more blitzes, but guys also dropping back. You didn't know whether the guys were going to blitz or drop back. What is beneficial about that defense?
Just putting pressure on offenses on recognition. Are we bringing everybody? Are we dropping out? You got to account for all that heat, and sometimes guys get happy feet. Are they dropping out? What are they dropping to? So trying to put pressure on offenses and make quarterbacks second guess themselves.
Michael?
How would you compare and contrast the style of offense that Houston plays versus the style of offense that TCU plays?
Houston was not that TCU is not a physical run game, but Houston, their quarterback run game was really good. I think they hang their hat on it. For instance, Houston, you could see even on third down, they're willing to run the ball. TCU is one of the top passing offenses in the country. It's the top in the Big 12. They got a lot of weapons out there, and so I think heavier pass, but you got to be ready for the run game for them as well. I just think Houston kind of lived in the run more, and we're excited about the challenge ahead with the passing attack.
From the secondary standpoint, going into this game, what are some of the keys for those guys?
Having good eyes, being disciplined, doing their job, not trying to do too much and chase too many plays. Guys always want to make plays, but sometimes you get out of gaps and out of their coverage responsibilities and chasing stuff. So as long as they do their job, I think we got a good plan, and now we got to execute.
Justin, how did you guys go about fixing up the tackling and the missed tackle issues, and how do you think what you guys learned from that experience before the Houston game can be applied to this game?
Yeah, it's something we harp on. Population around the ball, taking good angles was a big deal too. So just continue to rep that at practice, working on our angles, working on our discipline, not overrunning things. Sometimes you're trying to make a touchdown-saving tackle, and it puts you in a bad position to give up a cutback or something like that. So just focusing on that stuff, and the guys really did a good job with that.
How would you describe the evolution of Owen Goss's game this year?
He's done a great job. He's continued to get better. He had to, he was challenged with learning multiple positions and having to do a lot. I think he's finally getting comfortable, especially there's been some different, pieces playing around him. I think those guys are really starting to gel now that they've all been playing together with the injury situation. So I think, you saw a good product on the field and I think last week because of all the reps they've been taking together, it takes continuity in the back end, and those guys are really starting to develop that.
Coach, after watching the tape, what were some of the things you wrote down just about Genesis's performance, the way he breaks on the ball, the interception when he broke on it, and then the one on fourth down, and the way he has the ability to be able to make those types of plays?
You'll hear Coach Aquina talk about it a lot. Some guys just have a great feel for the game, and Genesis is one of those guys, Some quarterbacks will try and look you off. Genesis, he can feel when they're trying to look me off, when he's really staring down a receiver. He's got a great feel for that in the pass game. Plus, he's long and rangy, and he's got great ball skills. You saw it with the interception there. The guy is just continuing to get better. Made some big-time plays in the special teams game, tackling, running down. His game has continued to grow this season, and, excited to finish it off with him.
Kind of infectious about Jack Latrell and just kind of the energy he exudes out there.
Yeah, high energy. He's super confident, which we love. It's honing that confidence in. But with him and Genesis, you talk about two spark plugs together. How can you not have fun talking to those guys and working with those guys? Every day is exciting, fresh, and new, and I think it, kind of radiates throughout the defense.
Coach Brennan mentioned this a couple times, but what kind of role has Stooks and Gunner had, despite the injuries, just being involved in the room and all that?
It just shows you why those guys are captains and their leadership. They're continuing to help these young guys. You'll see them on the sidelines. Stooks has got a notepad and a pen writing down what he sees and, what he would do and talking with us. It's like having another coach out on the field with him and Gunner out there. And just, settling those guys down, especially, Jack, this is his first real season playing. He's got a lot of ability, but just giving him little pointers from a veteran point of view from Gunner and Stooks is huge for us.
So related to that, everyone always talks about next man up. When someone gets hurt, when you lose, three of your very best players on defense, it's probably harder than just saying, harder to do that as opposed to just saying it. So what's the process been like for the guys who have had to play to move past that, to come together and kind of put that in the rearview mirror?
I think it takes time. I mean, for those guys, they're excited for their opportunities. You know, they all came here to play. They knew, what the situation in the room was, so they were just continuing to work and wait for their opportunity, and it might have come sooner than they might have realized. And then going through some of the growing pains, with the reps and the comfort within the defense and within each other, like we were talking about earlier, the continuity between those guys. They're finally starting to gel, work together. And we took, you just have some growing pains. You work through it. Those guys do a great job putting the extra time in, studying extra film, and meeting together. So they're all on the same page out there, and I think that's a big part of it.
Ryan?
I think TCU's maybe the most unbalanced opponent you're facing in terms of the pass side of it, but they just had their most rushing yards this past game, and I think when they started the UCF game, they were trying to run a lot, or trying to throw a lot, even though that they're known for the running. How important is that to make sure that you're not just overemphasizing what they do best and letting them have that opening?
100%. We tell our guys, you got to stop the run before you can have some fun. So you got to be willing to get in there and get physical, and stop the run game. So for the guys up front, you don't have the ability to rush the passer until you stop the run. And, like you said, they did a great job this past week. So we got to make sure we're doing our job reading our keys, our run-pass keys, and making sure we have good eyes in the run game. And then, secondary work to pass, but we can't just be thinking pass. This isn't a 7-on-7 game. These guys are physical. They've got a good running attack, and their running backs are good players as well.
Justin?
So you were a part of this team last year, much different feeling, I'm sure, last year. What's it been like for you, just kind of experiencing the two different types of seasons?
That's a great question. You just roll with the punches in this deal. You continue to work to win ball games. It's easy to do when you're kind of on a roll. It's a little bit more of a challenge, but I mean, this is what we love to do. And whether whether Jack's in there or Gunner's in there, it doesn't matter, injury purposes or how the season's going. We're just trying to get better each day and trying to chase a win. And it doesn't matter if you lost the week before or won. You come in, every day's a new day, and we just try and improve each day. There's a lot more. I think the outside noise is a little bit different, but if you just focus on what's going on here in the building and what we can control, that's all you can do.
For the leaders who were a part of last year's team, how have they been able to navigate the guys through this stretch?
I can't tell you, speak highly enough about the leadership of this group. I mean, they do a great job. Just kind of like that same message, just pushing to find a win each week, and fighting through the adversity. If anything in life is easy, it's probably not worth having. So just continuing we're chasing, it's a 2-game season at this point, right? We're chasing bowl eligibility. So control what you can control. Let's get better each day, and let's get bowl eligible. That's the goal.
Go to Jen in the back.
You kind of answered the question I was about to ask, but like you mentioned, this is a must-win game to keep bowl eligibility. So what are the conversations like? Do the guys feel that? I mean, how are you kind of balancing that pressure? You want a little bit of it, right, as motivation, but how are you balancing it where it's not overwhelming?
We don't have our sights. Obviously, we have our sights on making a bowl game, but all you can do is take it week by week. So we can't worry about what's to come. We just have to focus on what can we do right now to achieve the goal of getting this win against a really good opponent. So we just try and tell our guys to just focus on what they control. Just put a little bit extra in the film room, or a little bit extra in the strength and conditioning, or training room, recovery purposes. Just do your part, so then we can all achieve this goal.
Last question to Michael.
A lot of the coaches on the current staff were with Coach Brennan in San Jose State. You were one who was here, so coaching under him is new for you. What has the experience been like to work for Coach Brennan, and how has he handled, kind of a rough season?
The group of guys that Coach B brought, man, they're unbelievable. He's as good as it gets, a great human being. The players love him. I think he's a player's coach. We've had our ups and downs, and we've taken our lumps, but he's an unbelievable coach, and I'm surrounded by a bunch of great guys on staff that care about winning, that, you know, pour their heart and soul into not just football, but these kids' development on and off the field. And that's what I really appreciate, you know, is coming to work and being around that, because, you know, we're all trying to stack wins and be great, but to also make sure these guys, they're you know, they're young student athletes, still developing the players and the people, and that's what I appreciate the most with this group for sure.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you.